So I was pulling into a shopping center, like a grocery store parking lot. And as I approached this parking space, I could see there were four women standing around their vehicles with their phones out like this. And they're looking up and looking around. I don't know, they're talking a little bit. And I was like, oh, what in the world is going on here? Is it possible that four friends ran into each other in the store parking lot and just start chit-chatting? So I'm like, this is weird. So I pulled in this parking spot, and I step out of the car, and this one lady approaches me, and she says, excuse me, do you happen to have any jumper cables? So in the split second it took for me to get my keys and go into the trunk and pull out the jumper cables that I had, this whole sexist tirade appeared in my brain. It's like, you got four women, four vehicles here, and not one set of jumper cables between the four of you. And so, but luckily, I did have jumper cables, probably because of my Y chromosome. And so, popped my hood, and it just so happened that the parking spot I pulled into was the lady who needed the jump, and it just so happened that the side her battery was on was the side that I think they were probably holding that parking space, and maybe. And so maybe when I was pulling in, they say, oh, look, it's a male. He probably has jumper cables. We'll let him park in that space. And it just so happened it turned out that way. But as soon as I pulled out the jumper cables and we popped our hoods and everything like that, like three of the other ladies left. So they're just there helping that one lady get a jump. Because what's more threatening? A single woman? One single woman in the parking lot playing, hey, mister, do you have jumper cables? Or four ladies out there with their phones out and ready to film you or call 911 and asking for jumper cables. So I just think it's interesting that, I may have had this sexist tirade in my mind, but you know what? I probably discounted the sexist tirades going on in their minds. But the good news is that nobody was hurt. Nobody's feelings were even hurt. Lady got a jump. She sat there in the parking lot the whole time I was inside. It came out, and she's still like letting her car run, I let an alternator do its thing. She said, thanks again, and bye. And so it was a very positive interaction altogether. All because I kept spitting out my lunch. All because I kept my chaotic thoughts to myself. Because I was in a hurry that day, and I was like, I really have time, and it's hot, but I help people out anyway, and you should too, because there was this one time where I needed a jump, and I was at a Wawa, and it was like four people I had to ask, and mostly it was like younger people, like early 20s people. And I was like, hey, I have some jumper cables. You got a second? Just let me get a jump off your car. And people would walk, I really don't have time. I got to get to work. And I was like, okay. And I don't know. I guess it kind of made me feel like I was, dangerous looking, which I don't think so. How is that possible? How do you look at me and say, oh, that guy looks creepy and dangerous? I don't get that. I don't know. I never creep myself out, I suppose. Is it possible to creep yourself out? Sometimes I think so. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Yeah. Okay. So, and that's why, like, when I find myself in a situation where somebody's asking me, do you have any jumper cables? I remember myself in that situation trying to get a jump so I can get on with my day. And so that's kind of the idea of pay it forward, or do unto others as you have done unto you. Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting thing that happened. I learned something from it, or maybe you can learn something from it too.